Hi, my name is Herman, and for the video assignment for today, I chose option 2, which I have to describe the different types of joints within the body. First is the bony joint. The bony joint is two bones that eventually fuse to become one, and their movement is classified as either synarthrosis, meaning there's no movement involved between those bones. An example of a bony joint would be it's present in children when the diaphysis or epiphysis fuse to become one when we reach adulthood. A second type of joint is the fibrous joints, which are bones that are bounded together by short collagen fibers. And these typically are classified as either slight movement or no movement at all. A type of fibrous joint is the sutures. Sutures can only be found in our cranials. And sutures are these little squiggly lines that run across the center of our cranial or on the sides. And between those joints are gaps, and between those gaps there is collagen fibers filled in between them, and technically there's no movement involved, so it's classified as synarthrosis, meaning no movement at all. A second type is the gomphases. Gomphases are the joints between our teeth, and they can be found on their mandible or maxilla, and they're also held up by short collagen fibers and also by a ligament called the periodontal ligament, which holds the teeth in place. Lastly is syndesmosis. Syndesmosis is a slightly more movable joint, and the collagen fibers in this is slightly longer. And this can be found in our ulnus or radius. At the ends, there is this long collagen fiber that connects it together, which allows a little bit more movement, so it will be classified as amphithyrosis, meaning there's little movement involved. Next is the cartilaginous joints. Cartilaginous joints are when two bones are interlinked by collagen, which is either hyaline or fibrocartilage. One type of this is synchondrosis. Synchondrosis is when bones are bounded by hyaline cartilage. An example is in children, their long bones, such as the epiphysis and diaphysis, there is a little gap between those two, which is filled with hyaline cartilage, which are usually fused and become one. Lastly is the symphysis. Symphysis. This is a type of bone that are bounded by fibrocartilage, which is a type of strong cartilage. And an example of symphysis will be our vertebrae column. And between those columns, there are these things called the intervertebral discs. And those discs contain fibrocartilage, which allows us to move a little bit more and absorb shock. And their movement is classified as amphithyrosis, meaning there's little movement involved between those two joints. Next is the synovial joints. Synovial joints are a little bit more complex than the rest of the joints. They are when two joints together have a joint called a joint cavity. Between the joint cavity, there is this fluid called synovial fluid, which helps lubricate the joints and allows it to move more easily. And synovial joints are classified as diarthrosis, meaning there's movement around them. It's freely movable, and I think that might apply to synovial joints only. An example of synovial joints are pretty much common around all our body. They could be found in our phalanges between these two. It can be in our elbows, our knees, and pretty much a lot more around our body because they're freely movable. I think it's only found there because joints like that are freely movable. And some structures that are related to a synovial joint are called tendons. Tendons, which connects bones to muscle around the synovial joints, and inner of the tendon is a ligament, which contains bones to bones, which attaches bones to bones.